Hey sis, I want to hop in here and I'm hopping in here with a hot take, okay? My hot take is that trans women aren't women. Trans men aren't men. They are human. They are souls. I think back. I think back to a time when our country was so hopeful for so many things, right? Barack Obama was in office. The gay right to marriage had been honored. But a whisper, a whisper in the wind would set off a series of events that I'm writing about right now. And it created this redirection into only focusing on social issues. And I have to tell you, trans women aren't women. Trans men aren't men. They're human. All right? And this might be a little radical for you to accept. I don't know if you're here yet, but I am here. You know, black, white, Puerto Rican, Chinese, brown, all of that, absolutely irrelevant. These are only ways to put ourselves into boxes that we can close off, believing we're protecting ourselves from other people. These are my hot takes. Do you hear what I'm saying? That the box you place yourself in, you then put a lid on because you feel like you need to protect this identity. I am a straight black woman. I need to protect that. I can't have any threats to my blackness. I can't have any threats to my gender. Oh, I identify as heterosexual. I can't have any threats to my sexuality. I need you to understand how all of this is only a way to separate us and prevent us from making progress. Did you hear that? It is only a way to separate us and prevent us from achieving progress. And so I think of how recently my the father of my children, right? The father of my daughters, right? His sister just got married. And I didn't know what to say or how to say it because I'm in this place of like human, point blank period. So I'm happy that she found her human. You know, that's really what I was trying to express to him as I was trying to find the words to celebrate, you know, this achievement. I don't know what you want to call it. Marriage is a farce. Marriage is ridiculous. I wouldn't do it. Wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy, to be honest with you. I haven't seen, and don't get in my comments, my mom and dad, I don't care about that. I don't. If 50% of the country is getting divorced, then there's a problem. Period. Marriage as an institution is really to continue to concentrate wealth, but that's another conversation. Back to what I'm going to end on. If we can all recognize the humanity in one another, we wouldn't continue to pick at ourselves. That's what it feels like. I'm black, I'm a woman, I'm straight, I'm this, I'm that. Why can't all of that be encompassed under one label? Human. Why not? I really want to know. You tell me in the comments. Why can't you be a human? Why do you want pre-established narratives connected to these traits or characteristics or whatever you want to call them, personalities? Why do you want that to pin you where you are? I don't need to have a debate about my sexuality because it is whatever it is. I'm a human. I'm attracted to other humans. Whatever that shape or form takes doesn't matter. But my next point, to try to convince people that you need to accept a new creation when one was already existing, right? Like, we already had cross-dressers and things like this in our history, in our past. These are my hot takes, so I'm not worried about what you're thinking or how you feel. I have my own thoughts, and I'm delivering them to you right now, right? So I'm going to get into it, but if we already had that way, way in our past, people who identified or realized the duality among themselves, or that they weren't comfortable and decided to outwardly express what it is they felt internally. So I like dresses. I want to wear them. Why do you need to assign a sexual orientation to yourself in order to dress or in order to love who you want to love? No, you tell me that. Why do you need to assign a sexual orientation to yourself in order to feel valid in who you love? I'm Chardonnay, Laura Alexandria, Capri, Winston, Rutherford, baby. Whatever it is, that as long as it's a consenting adult, I'm not sure what the problem is. I think the problem is that people are so used to labels that they need to assign something to themselves. And I gotta say, is that actual self-acceptance? You assigning a label to yourself, or are you just rooting around trying to figure out and piece together who you think you are, when you could just exist as you are? Right? I'll wrap it up with a few final thoughts. One, the amount of people who have body dysmorphia is ridiculous. And it's not just trans people. They're human. But I'm just using that label because that's what they use, right? It's not just trans individuals. There are people who will get a rhinoplasty and get another one and another one and another one because they'll never be satisfied, because they're not going to achieve the ideal in their mind externally, because it was never meant to be. Please hear me when I say this. You were meant to accept yourself in its entirety, the way that you are. Nose, mouth, ears, boobs, butt, legs, genitals, all of that. Because that's the way that you were made by the universe. All right? So the sex change surgeries only, really make me think you're not happy with yourself. I hate to say it, and I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal. I'm a human. I'm a human trying to humanize you so that we can move forward unified as a people. But if everybody wants to grandstand on these labels, personalities, characteristics, we're never going to move forward, because everybody's going to be like, well, what about me and my group? Yeah, what about them? Why can't they join the collective? Right? Isn't it funny how, the LGBTQIA, where'd that IA come from? What is that? I don't know. It's just an additional way to continue to separate, mind you, people. Do you see where I'm coming from? Why are we doing that to each other? That doesn't make any sense to me. And to be quite frank with me, it never did. But here's where I tie it to what I was talking about at the beginning, where, you know, I feel like, hopefully I said this, but where I realized in our country, at least in my lifetime, the big shift between hope into hate. One of those major issues, major social issues outside of race. Of course, we got into the gender wars. That's another thing. But the trans issue was one that was so divisive. And the fact that people didn't want to let it go is kind of crazy to me. You could, first off, I never cared about the bathroom issue. I'm going to touch into it a little bit. The bathroom issue is so major. Guess what? Cross-dressers have been using the bathrooms they want for God knows how long. I remember talking to friends about this when this became a big issue, 2011, 2012. And I was just like, I don't even understand. Like, people were using the bathrooms they wanted to before and nobody realized, like, nobody cared. And then also, you could just have gender neutral bathrooms. I'm not talking, you know, both of the sexes using the bathrooms. You know, niggas will cry about that. No, I'm talking about at my freaking doctor's office, it says bathroom. There's 2 available. You pick which one. None of them are assigned to you. You just go to the damn bathroom. Just like when you go to the bathroom at anybody's house, you just go to the bathroom. You know, standing 10 toes down on that social issue cost us so much. And sure, people were acting in bad faith. Oh, the men are just going into the bathrooms to spy on women. All right, we know better than that. Okay, fine. If we would have just said trans people are human, and maybe somebody did. I didn't hear it. I heard trans women are men. I mean, trans women are women. Trans men are men. And it's just, now you got women and men. Do you see? That's what's crazy to me. Because even people on the left, whatever you want to call that, they were divided on the issue. There didn't need to be division. There just need to be humanism, if that's a word. I'm sure it is. Recognizing the humanity in one another is what's going to provide us the pathway to progress. But as long as you want to stand 10 toes down on these identifiers, on these boxes, then we're not going to go anywhere as a country. Bottom line. So, in closing, trans women, trans men are human. All right? Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, sis, and that's all I got for you right now. Au revoir.